Alright. What's up, everybody? We're here on the New Balance, the new patch for one of the weekly cups, and we've got a highlight map here we're looking at to see how PvT has changed. Of course, a trendsetter, a man that is very quick to adapt to New Balance changes, experiment, and find the best ways to abuse them. Astrea in the top left side of the map. His opponent in the bottom right side, it's SICKK. Now, SICKK is, of course, an absolute monster and one of the most rock-standard, solid TvP players. I've criticized him in the past for being borderline predictable in the matchup, and then he goes and says, yep, but I still win. So you can very commonly expect things like, okay, I'm going to go for a 2 Widowmine drop, I'll get a Raven out, make 3 barracks, push out with stim, shields, medevacs, and 2 siege tanks. He does it almost every single game, and he's very, very good at it. But I do think a highly intelligent Protoss player can take advantage of it, and that's why I'm curious to see how Astrea approaches these new maps, this new balance. Now, this is Dragon Scales. Astrea is going to be going for a Nexus before Cybercore. It's a rather long map, and he's going to be heading in towards that main. Now, obviously, Ravens are more popular because they build faster and are cheaper in the new patch. Not only that, we've also got EMP comes out of the gates a bit stronger, but there's no upgrade for it anymore, so it isn't as good in the late game, since you can't add that upgrade to make the radius even bigger. Protoss, of course, the Archons are a little bit more nimble, able to micro around. Upgrades do upgrade faster, which is a significant change we keep forgetting to mention, because just like, oh, it's, 8 seconds off the tier 1 upgrade, 10 seconds off the tier 2 upgrade, 10 seconds off the tier 3 upgrade. It doesn't sound like that much, but it does actually add up a fair bit as well. And of course, a few other small things. Now, battery overcharge has been nerfed, so that significantly nerfs the kind of turtling Colossus style. And Astrea was one of the best in the world at going blink off 2 Gate Stalker, getting up that defense for the Widowmine drop, and then just going straight into Colossus and a 3rd base. And he loved that turtly Colossus Stalker style as the opening. He'd stay 2 gateways longer than just about any other Protoss player. Now he's going to be going Adept Sentry this game, so he's going to be using Sentry for scouting. He wants to see exactly what Q is doing here. So far, no one's lost any units. Keep in mind, there is a Reaper ledge over there, quite a wide one, but he didn't want to build his gateway and Cybercore down there. Adept chasing that Reaper away. And a very standard opening behind it. Marine, Reactor, Factory. Q has skipped the bunker, which you could argue is a little greedy, but since it was Nexus before Cybercore, no way for Astrea to punish that. And a Hellion on the way, a Starport as well. Now, what I'm really interested is, yeah, do you still try to go Colossus here? Because I don't think it's as good with the battery only doing 150% healing now rather than 200%. I mean, it still has the massive boost of it, of course. For those who don't know, the big advantage of the battery overcharge is it doesn't cost energy while overcharged. Normally, shield batteries run out of energy really quickly. That's their whole weakness. That's the thing that makes them not overpowered in most situations. But the battery overcharge can just heal for its entire duration, no Fs given. And that is, of course, what makes it powerful. Quick third Nexus at 330. Okay, Astrea says, let's go for a super fast Nexus. And I'll just scout to see what's happening. But, oh, man, the Reaper Hellion could cause some trouble. Already getting 1 probe here. They're going to get a 2nd one. And the Hellion does go down. I think that's completely acceptable. Only losing 2 probes. Obviously, it's a valuable couple of units there. They got a scout off to some extent as well. They know Twilight is upgrading. But look at that. Astrea knows, oh, okay, you could Marine drop me. You could Widowmine drop me. There's a few different cool moves you could do. Looks like Q is going to do the 1-2 punch. The Widowmines are going to run into the natural and maybe the 3rd and burrow. And the Marine drop will go towards the main base. Astrea's on 2 gateways. He has skipped a Robo, guys. And he's actually going to go double Forge at 4 minutes 10. Oh, this is a greedy build. He's got 3 Stalkers. I worry for him, though, because I feel like the Widowmines are just going to be able to walk right in. There's an Adept out there and a Sentry out there. Oh, he sees the Widowmines. Okay, that's really good for Astrea. He's going to have to get these units back and try to stop that. And the Stalkers, he's moved to the natural, but he realizes, wait, there's going to be a drop in the main of Marines. I've got to get my Stalkers up there. Marine drops coming in. At the same time, the Widowmines are going to try and walk in the natural. Astrea knows, though, that scouting, that really good map vision with the units is important. He gets rid of them. And, oh, he gets rid of both Widowmines before they can burrow. Nicely done. Does lose 3 probes and a Stalker to the drop, though, so this is not insignificant. He's also denying mining his Cure. Gets a 4th probe, and it's time for him to leave. Good blink back by Astrea. The medevac will have to go to the dead space. Probes go back to mining. At the end of the day, units lost time looks pretty good for Astrea, but he lost mining time, and he was not constantly probing during that. Also, his upgrades were delayed starting just a little bit, at least his armor was. So Astrea now getting those upgrades started. You can see 121 seconds on both of those upgrades now. I believe it was 128 seconds previously. For those who don't know, upgrades are a little bit faster for the other races, but they were gradually nerfed because Protoss was winning games by just always being way ahead of upgrades years and years ago in StarCraft 2, and they're now scaling that back to make it a little bit more fair. You can see here, only 114 seconds for the engineering bay to get +1, whereas it's 121. So it's still faster to get the Terran upgrades if there's no chrono boost used, but you drop a couple chronos in those upgrades and they can definitely finish very quickly. Twitch chat's pointing out, apparently Astrea accidentally misclicked and killed one of his own probes. I did not catch that at all. Apparently he did in that fight. He's still only on 2 gates, but 6 more gateways are coming in. Oh, if he can get the Raven, that would be huge. And he doesn't actually pull the probes away, but that's okay. That's fantastic. He gets the Raven shut down. The medevac is empty, of course, in the back of the base, and he's just going mass 2 gas, charge zealot, stalker. Now, the way to counter this as Cure, and he should know what's going on because he sees no gases, is to drop an armory and to make sure you start pumping Widow Mines nonstop. Now, the reason you get the armory is there's no detection on the field for Astrea. Astrea's doing a style which basically gets massive map control by going unupgraded units. It's great for dealing with high-tech styles like Ravens and siege tanks that aren't as maneuverable because you've got way more mobility. Cure, though, has built way too many workers. He's at 53 workers without starting a 3rd command center. I guess he's got to drop that 3rd right now. If he doesn't drop that 3rd, I mean, he's floating tons of money. He starts combat shields here. He's got bio building. I think Astrea will move out and take a 4th base in a moment. He's starting his own +2 weapons. Astrea does need to start +2 armor, but he doesn't realize it hasn't started, and that's a big mistake for him. Armor's so important. If you can get +2 armor out, it's massive. Hopefully when he goes back to chrono boost, he'll realize and start the +2 armor there. Zealot's getting ready on the right side. He's already got a pylon on the right, a pylon on the left. Interestingly, he's got sentries here as well, and you can see he's focusing on trying to backstab his opponent. Now, Cure comes in, and he sees you're still on 2 gas, and this tells Cure all you need to know. As Cure, you look up there, you see the gases. Where is that armory? The armory is so important here because Astrea just can't handle it. All you need to do is get Widow Mine drops across the map while building up your bio ball and adding plenty of Widow Mines with it, and Astrea will be forced to tech up. But Cure he's not making that call. He's just going for the critical bio ball, which can work. His army is way better than Astrea's because he's waiting so long and he's building up the numbers. The problem is if Astrea backstabs, he can rip his economy apart, and especially with 2-2 versus 1-1, that's what the real timer is right now. Unfortunately, that +2 armor is a bit behind. I don't think it's going to get ready in time for this push. +2 attack may be done, though. Look at this. He's going with a big Zealot backstab. Is he going for a surround of the army? It looks like just a backstab for Astrea here. The Zealot's going to come in. He catches the SCV pull. Big all in for Cure. Cure way overbuilt workers so that he could use them as tanking units in the front line. Crazy moves. I would have liked to see some force fields there. He's going to lose that sentry. Almost certainly it does go down. Tanks behind this. Cure realized that Astrea was going to be backstabbing. Oh, wow. That's actually really smart that he was already prepared for that. And Astrea, ooh, good blinks, getting out of there. The medevac's plenty of healing. That's a big, scary bio ball. Zealots just cannot trade against so much bio. If they're in a big ball, there might not be that many Marines and Widow Mines, but if they're just in a big enough ball with medevac healing and SCVs tanking, you need splash damage. Without splash damage, it's so hard to get the fight, especially if they're stutter stepping. Astrea realizes this. He's got +2 attack coming in. His +2 armor will not be there, but he's going to try and go for a giant surround. He's coming in from every single angle. He's going to make it so there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. The SCVs are tanking in the front line reasonably well, but of course, Zealots rip them down so quickly. Oh, but look at that. He's punched a hole through the back line, and that's a big problem for Astrea because that bio ball, it can stutter step for days, but those Widow Mines on the right side do go down. More bio coming in. I think Astrea might be dead, guys. He's got 2-1 upgrades, but he does not have that +2 armor just yet. The medevacs are pretty low on juice, so every stim that comes out is going to, of course, hurt Cure's ability to keep on staying here, but man, those Widow Mines are absolutely devastating. This is why you want to skirmish. You want to move in, move out, move in, move out as Astrea, but he's just going for it with the Zealot warp in. His Stalkers take out one medevac. They're going to take out another medevac, but as the Stalkers fall, you're screwed. You can't lose those Stalkers. He's also trying to get his probes out of there. Remember, he's on 3 base versus 2 base. Cure did not build a 3rd command center, but he can always lift his main out behind this. If he gets his 3rd, that will be a massive pick-off for him, and that could secure him the victory. Astrea's coming in with those Stalkers from behind, cuts off the Marine rally, but he's going to lose his 3rd base, and that's a big problem. 2-2 upgrades versus 1-1 are a sizable tech advantage, or upgrade advantage, I guess I should call it. We often differentiate tech from upgrades. Stalker's going to try and bait out another stim. He's got to watch out for the Widow Mine on the left side. Looks like he should be able to get past it, and he does, but he's going to lose a few of these Stalkers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe 4 Stalkers just went down. And Astrea needs to pop some new Nexi down. He needs to do it right now. His main's starting to mine out. That's a big, scary army of Terran. Now, Q, of course, threw away a lot of workers, so his mining kind of sucks as well. He's got pretty bad income. You could argue 46 probes versus 22 is acceptable for Astrea, especially with the 2-2 upgrade advantage. And he's going to come in, blinks forward, takes out that Widowmine and a Marauder almost instantly. There's no more Widowmines here. Great force fields, traps a few Marauders. I like the way the Zealots are being pulled back. And he says, hey, are you sure you want to come in here? Another great force field from Astrea. Oh, wow. Just very technical force field micro out here. Kua, though, he's still got those medevacs healing, 6-7 medevacs on the field. He's in mostly Marine production right now. He's realizing he needs density of firepower, and Marines are what does that. Marines will gun down Zealots the fastest. But the upgrade disadvantage, that's a big problem. Not to mention, if you have +2 armor and a Guardian shield, a Zealot or Stalker will have 5 armor against a Marine that's doing 7 damage a shot. I don't know if you guys are too good at numbers, but when a Marine takes 75 shots to kill a Zealot, it's not very good for the Marine. Now, obviously, that's not exactly correct maths because the shields is 1 less armor, but yay, or a couple less armor, in fact, 3 less with the upgrades. You follow my drift, it's pretty close, like 60 hits. Zealots do intercept the rally. Nice move by Astrea there. He's keeping Kua back. Kua still is stubbornly committing to this. He's even brought his tanks to the front line now, which of course forces the sentries back. But Astrea sees everything with the Observer. He's warping in more Zealots. The Zealots continuing to tear up the rally. Kua needs to organize at home. Right now, Kua is taking way too much damage to these Zealots. The Widowmines, though, of course, big problem. The Zealots are going to go for it. He's just like, screw it, that's fine. You still didn't build an armory, mate. And if there was an armory in this game, you can see that Astrea would be 100% dead, guys, because he has no way to build mobile detection. No Stargate, no Robo. Actually, he had a Robo on the 3rd, but he lost it, didn't he? Oh, yeah, he did. He lost it when he lost his 3rd base. He's got 1 Observer out. I don't know when that Observer popped. I still think the armory would have caused a lot of problems for Astrea, especially if you got a Widowmine drop here, you got Widowmines. He's going to have to build cannons in each base. Like, in general, against this heavy gas style, Widowmines are such a big answer to it, as is EMP if you're playing 3 base, but on 2 base, hard to afford EMP with all the rest of this stuff. Force fields coming out here from Astrea, forcing the siege up. That tank on 7 hit points barely survives. 10 more SCVs go down. The natural is lifted. The Zealots are tearing it up. This game has been absolutely wild, but it looks like this fight is going to now decide who wins and loses this game. Astrea's got his 3rd back up and mining, but it's... Oh, he's going to give it up. He's going to give it up. He realizes that, look, if I'm killing your natural, I don't need a 3rd. You're back to 1 base. That 1 base is almost completely out of resources, and he's happy to just pull on back with these Zealots and not throw them away for now. He's trying to bait Kua forward. Kua, remember, every stim is 20 hit points off a Marauder, 10 off a Marine, and those medevacs are dangerously low on energy. It's a lot of Stalkers and Sentries, not that many Zealots. I say that. Apparently, there's 18 Zealots on the map, but a lot of those did just recall home. That's right. He recalled the offensive force home. He's ready to flank this army. Those tanks on the right are in a pretty good spot right now. I like that spotting Zealot. Nice moves by Astrea here. Does end up losing it. And you can see that Kua right now is wary because force field splitting this army could be very good for Astrea. Unfortunately, though, the mining sucks for Astrea. Unfortunately for Kua, his mining sucks even more. His mining almost does not exist. Zealots are there at the natural. Twilight's going to get depowered. No big deal on that one. The tech still is there. Zealot's going to come in. He's going to have to go for it. Force fields only trap a couple of the units. The tanks get some shelling off on the Zealots, and it feels like Kua might just have found the winning position. I like that he's leaving some of his bio in reserve to guard those tanks in case a Zealot flank comes in from around the right side. He's going to go after that natural. This is going to force Astrea to engage here. He's going to go for it. Okay, he's going to jump on that right side. Stalkers will take out the siege tanks, but oh man, this is getting real weird right now. The Stalkers and Sentries are so valuable, and they're going to get isolated out there. They do take out most of the Marines and Marauders on the right, but all of his Stalkers are gone, and that means there is nothing that shoots up, and Kua can dance into the medevacs all day, but he wants to stay on the ground for now. He's trying to just kite down these Zealots. He's doing a good job of it. Astrea wisely pulls back. Units lost tab tells a story of Terran dominance. Upgrades are nice, but they're not as important as having a big ball of ranged units with concussive shells, with medevac support, all of this stuff doing very well for Astrea here, who's now pulling back. He's not got any mining either. And you've got to imagine that this mineral count, it's going to be better for Kua with double mule dropping. Even only 12 SCVs mining is not good, but it's got to be better than a guy who's just long distance mining here. You know, the mules are intermittent, but in the long run, that's going to be better off for Kua than Astrea, and I think he's basically secured the victory then. The Zealots will actually find the rally. As long as he raises the depot, he's fine. Oh, he doesn't get the... No, Kua doesn't get the depot up. Oh, no. Oh, man, that means these Zealots are on top of the production, which means all of the mining is gone. Everything I just said about Cure having the better mining, that gets reversed now. A Medevac's going to get taken out. Can he get another one? 2 Medevacs go down. He does lose a sentry, though. He's going to need to make more sentries and just keep force fielding that ramp. He's got enough stalkers and sentries to make it scary to lift up and try and drop on top of this. Astrea is on top of the production. The Widow Mines, though, do tear up his Zealots. Zealots are going to take out those Widow Mines and keep chasing those Marauders. Is it enough to actually shut down the production, though? 2 more Marines, 3 Marines, in fact, get caught on top of the ramp. Q has got to be a little bit better with his micro here. Both of his command centers are floating. A few more Zealots are running in. The Widow Mines here do take out those Zealots, but guess what? Q is out of money, and the Zealots are on top of the production. So he's going to lose all of his bases and just be forced to drop mules. Meanwhile, Astrea has still got 50 minerals left in the main, and he's going to start long distance mining the natural. The Observer sees the army head home. So there's going to be a drop. Oh man, Astrea should get out. Astrea should run away. Actually, I think 5 Zealots maybe beats this much Marine Marauder. It might be okay for him. He might be able to just fight these guys. You got to be careful though, because if Cure can just start picking off all these Zealots for free, like it's so hard to replace anything right now. Even with long distance mining, Astrea does not have a lot of money coming in. Nice recall there, saves. Oh, he lost 2 of them still. Zealot in the base is going to hide there. Cure knows it's there, so he's going to go hunt it down. More mules are dropping. Cure coming back to pull up this pylon. Still 35 probes long distance mining. It's not a great income, but not a great income is still all right. He's at about 420 minerals a minute there. It was 419 for a sec. It's kind of up and down. Obviously, it's not exactly a clean average or anything like that. The force fields have done really well. The problem is that the damage output is so much higher that Cure, if he just guns these guys down, he could do really well. Oh, good force field. Okay, Zealot for a Marauder, but a Medevac goes down, as does another Zealot. Another Marauder and Marine seem to be trapped. Even more units getting trapped. Oh no, Cure, you gotta save these units. Cure a little too slow to pick those units up and get them out of there. Astrea doing a fantastic job of just managing these ramps so darn well, and he should pull back now with those units. Let the shields, let the energy regenerate. As well as get some more units back out there. He's trying to make more sentries right now. So it's a mass sentry for Astrea. Astrea, the sentry man, doing what he can. 2 SCVs to 35 workers. What in the hell is this? Oh man. I just can never bet against Stim Bio with Medevacs. The upgrades are what make it really playable. They really are. They really make a big difference, you know. But it's just. It's just like, I don't know, both of these situations look so bad. I love this sort of game. Oh man, I don't know who's favored. I think Astrea's done good in the last few fights. Don't underestimate how fragile all these units are if Stim Bio gets on top. That's too big an area to force field. But here, he can separate most of the ramp with 2 force fields, and a 3rd force field if he shoves down can be really effective. So there we go. He grabs a Marauder, but good pickup that time. Oh, and you see that? That's what I'm talking about. He can get some good hits. So Astrea's going to pull up here because that ramp's a bit easier to force field. Now, this is where Cure could lift units to the right and sandwich him. That's what I would probably go for if I was Cure, because I feel like there's just not that much damage from Astrea's force. But Astrea gets a few more Marines here. Obviously, he's going to force field that ramp. But, oh, he's going to lose a sentry. Oh, no, he loses a sentry and a stalker. I think Cure might have it. Cure might have it. There's a Nexus building behind this, but you know what? Marine Marauder's gonna catch his probe count. He does have 600 minerals. He can warp in 6 Zealots though, which might be enough to defend. Astrea still kiting with the force fields. Cure keeps lifting up the Marauders and pulling them to the back. He's baited out all of Astrea's energy. Astrea needs to recall right now. I think he's got to get these units out of here, but he's still managing the force fields on the ramp. Oh, another Stalker goes down though. The Widow Mine's gonna fire as well. The Widow Mine actually takes out a Medevac and a Sentry at the same time. The Zealots and the Probes are gonna overwhelm that drop, but it looks like Astrea has been beaten out of Cure's main base. And it looks like, yep, okay, these Stalkers are going to get out and grab a few SCVs on the way out. They could actually be an absolute menace. It's a 6 SCV economy. He's going to lose it all to these 2 Stalkers. But look at that, Cure. He's still got 2 Marauders and a Marine there on a drop. These probes should be mining over here. Astrea, rather than defending his own income, is focusing on killing the income of Cure. I don't know if that's the right call necessarily. He's long distance mining over there. I think he's, oh, is he going to just kill the mules and then recall? Oh my god, if he kills those mules, that'd be great. He gets 1 more mule, another mule getting very low, but he's got to blink out of there. Can't afford to lose these units. Recall is available. He's not going to use it just yet, though. Astrea doing some absolute wizardry right now. Meanwhile, these probes awkwardly long distance mining. You cannot afford to lose this base. You cannot afford to lose this base. He's going to go for the medevac, but the Zealots are stuck. The Zealots are stuck. Cure focuses the Nexus. Oh, the Nexus! 5 hit points. No bloody way. 5 hit points. Cure right now. Just got blue Nexus. Oh my god, a big pair of blue heaving Nexuses between his thighs, and he's not happy with that. He wants satisfaction, but he's not going to get these probes. I don't know what they're doing. They need to go back and start mining over there. Oh, man, he's going to come and try to finish that Nexus off. What do we got? 5 Zealots, 4 Stalkers for Astrea. Is that enough to take these units out? Guys, are there any medevacs? There's no medevacs left. He's lost all of his medevacs. Oh, no. Which means every stim is irrecoverable. The Stalkers are going to blink forward. Uh-oh. The Widowmine does take out a Zealot there. Remember, there's no armory. Oh, the Zealot Stalker probe should actually be able to overwhelm this, I think. Remember, the +2 armor, when you don't have medevacs and you don't have a big ball of bio, it's a problem. The probes just did a run by and killed a mule. Astrea is doing a probe backstab right now. He doesn't want to stand and fight with the Marines, though, so those probes are going to get their butt kicked. That is a big problem for him. Astrea doing some absolutely bizarre, yet they do kind of make sense maneuvers. He's forcing Q to micro and stim while the probes keep evading. These probes coming in as well. Rather than just mining on his Nexus, he figures that Nexus is going to eventually die anyway. I'm going to use my probes as fighting units and take out your Nexus. And he baits a stim. The Stalkers come forward. He says, it's a trap, mate. But he loses 2 Stalkers to Q's focus fire. And those Marines are absolute predators, man. I really feel like probes and zealots are just prey when they stand in the face of these units. I think the probes are going to have to go back to mining. Every mule is so good. The Stalkers can pick these Marines off pretty much forever, though. That's a big issue. Q has no gas, can't mine gas, can't build anything but Marines. He's got 10 Marines out. He's going to have 12 in a second. These Stalkers doing some really good micro. And remember, every stim is irrecoverable. Astrea, he can't lose these Stalkers. These Stalkers are basically the ultimate long-range siege unit right now. They can, like, take out the Marines without really getting hit in return. 2 more Zealots are warping in, but they're all the way up there in the main. He's going to run them down here. These pylons are slow warp-in pylons, which is why he's warping them in there. Observer sees those Marines. He might want to siege up here with the Observer to spot the high ground, because that's right now where Q is setting up. Zealots are going to run forward. Astrea's trying to run down that right side. Dude, remember that Nexus is still on 5 hit points. It's back up at 300 shields, but he's missed it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Look at that. Stim comes in for Q. Some of the Marines didn't even have enough hit points in order to use stims. The probes are going to try to run away. Astrea's going to try to come back. The probes go for a bit of a fight. The Marines are very low right now, and they do take out the last bit of Astrea's economy. He's on 13 probes. He's got no minerals to even long-distance mine from, like 2 patches there. Meanwhile, Q has double mule dropping. So if Q can get a big enough ball of Marines to win this next fight, he'll be okay. Problem, 6 Zealots. You want probably 3 Marines for each Zealot, because remember, no medevacs, and he's got 2-2, you've got 1-1. So you really want to get up to about 18 Marines here. He's only at 7, about to be 10 Marines, and he's having his mining shut down. A fresh mule gets caught. He might want to send 2 Marines across the map and then hide behind his wall off. He needs to lift a barracks and finish his wall off, because if he's in the open, he might get overwhelmed. I think Q should hide behind the wall off and just send 2 or 3 Marines to try to catch the probes. If he can kill the last probes, all he needs to do is hide his commands and keep like flying them around the edges. Eventually, he can get some mules dropped on his natural or something like that, especially if he lifts his buildings down and walls off. But Q is getting baited out right now by the Stalkers. Q, this is a big mistake. He should be walling off the front of his natural, because he's got so many minerals there that he can safely mine. He should wall that off. The Observer sees everything. He does not know about those Zealots that are waiting to pounce. If these Marines overstim, he's going to be in trouble. The Orbital's trying to find somewhere to mine from. He's going to move down to the left. I do think this is a big mistake. Like I said, you want to move those buildings down and wall off. Ooh, Zealot Stalker coming in. Okay, here we go. He's trying to drop some mules, but the Zealots are going to sandwich it. Not to mention the Stalkers are going to pick you off in the open ground all day long, man. He tries to focus the Stalkers down, does Q. He gets one of them, but not without big losses. Stalker's going to go after those mules. The Zealots chasing down the Marines. He's going to be able to afford a few more Marines, but that's it. That's it. Q taps out, and he has to GG. Oh, damn. Damn, GG, well played. Astrea wins the game. That was wild. I do think if Q pulls the Marines behind the wall off, because Astrea's income was so very bad, if we rewind just a few seconds, you can see he is mining with just a bunch of probes all the way from that third, that it's not a good income for him. I think double mule is way better income than this. So I do think Q could have walled off. And I do think Q, since he's had a few games like this recently, could study endgame scenarios where it's very low economy, because he had a similar situation leaving a match which could have been a draw versus Dark. So hats off to Q's coach out there on Dragon Phoenix Game, and give him some coaching on these low economy situations. On the other hand, Alpha X, I'd like to give Astrea the creative low economy crazy boy medal of honor, because that was a hilarious and amazing game. Thank you very much, both of these players, for watching, for giving us that game, and thank you very much everybody for the love. Really appreciate the support, and we'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye and good night.